On September 16, 2025, Hollywood was shaken by the news that Robert Redford, the legendary American actor, had passed away at his home in Utah at the age of 89. A statement from his representative confirmed that he died peacefully in his sleep, leaving the public with the image of a serene ending after more than 6 decades of brilliance. Yet only hours later, leaked autopsy documents turned everything upside down. Years of chronic illness, unusual marks on his body, and ambiguous notes in the forensic records. In today's video, we will delve into the chilling details in Robert Redford's autopsy report. The leaked autopsy documents were no longer just dry medical records, but resembled Robert Redford's final diary, each page opening secrets he had silently kept for years. For the first hours after the announcement, the public believed Redford had passed away in a peaceful sleep. But the leaked report on September 16, 2025, revealed a completely different truth. Right at the beginning, the record stated since March 2018, Redford had been diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, at Mayo Clinic, Minnesota after an emergency hospitalization during a charity gala due to severe shortness of breath. This illness is commonly linked to long-term smokers, and Redford was a textbook example. In the 1960s, the press praised his image as the dashing gentleman with a cigarette dangling from his lips. Few imagined that very image would leave scars on his lungs that could never heal. Though he quit smoking in the late 1990s, the internal damage lingered until the end of his life. Since 2019, Redford had to live with a personal oxygen tank and relied on a breathing machine every night. The forensic report recorded that within just 5 years, he had at least 27 short-term hospitalizations for respiratory failure. Treatment costs were listed at $1.2 million, a figure never revealed in the media, as Redford himself always tried to hide such weakness from the cameras. His heart suffered just as badly. The report revealed at least 3 mild heart attacks, the first in summer 2021, followed by episodes in 2023 and early 2024. Numerous scars on his heart muscle bore witness to the irreparable damage. Doctors advised him to have a stent placed, but Redford firmly refused. He chose to rely on medication instead, sometimes suppressing the pain in front of loved ones. One haunting detail was recorded during dinner at his Utah ranch. Redford suddenly clutched his chest, his face pale, but when his daughter pressed him, he only smiled faintly and said, "Maybe the food was just too salty," before forcing himself to continue the conversation as if nothing had happened. His decline became increasingly apparent. In 2023 alone, he lost nearly 15 kilograms, his face so gaunt that many barely recognized him. At the start of 2024, Redford still pushed himself to appear at the Sundance Film Festival, treating it as a final tribute to his life's work. The moment he walked, slowly supported step by step by an aide, his pale face, still showing a faint smile, brought many in the audience to tears. On live television, Ann Thompson of IndieWire remarked, "He didn't come to say goodbye. He came to prove he could still stand even as his body gave way." That was the last time the public saw Redford before countless eyes. By 2025, he was mostly confined to a wheelchair under the constant care of nurses around the clock. Medical expenses during this stage surged to $2.5 million, a testament to his severe decline. The toxicology section of the report revealed another shocking truth. His blood contained abnormally high levels of morphine and bazooka. They did not directly cause his death, but they proved he had relied heavily on painkillers and sedatives for years. A medical source told NBC News that Redford once confessed to his personal doctor, "I'm not afraid of dying. I'm only afraid of waking up each morning to begin another day of fighting the pain." Those words were almost a final testament, exposing a life consumed by relentless illness. The report also listed numerous other conditions: a long scar from skin cancer surgery in 2015, an artificial knee from 2019 surgery that left a lingering chronic infection, and even bed sores on his back from lying in bed. 2 long signs that by early 2025, Redford no longer had the strength to leave his sick room. Yet what unsettled people most was the detail of a large bruise on his left rib cage. It did not match any of his medical conditions. The coroner briefly noted possibly from impact, but gave no conclusion. Some experts speculated it might have been caused by a fall at home weeks before his death, an incident never made public, fueling further suspicion. Adding to the mystery, investigative journalists from The Guardian and Vanity Fair discovered parts of the medical files had been redacted or altered, particularly regarding the drugs he had used in his final month. Some suggested the family sought to protect his reputation, while others whispered that sensitive details were deliberately hidden. All these overlapping details turned the report into a chilling and contradictory record. On one hand, the elegant gentleman immortalized in the public's memory. On the other, a frail body riddled with scars and unresolved secrets. Those ambiguous details sparked countless theories about the final truth of Robert Redford's life. When the cold lines of the report came to light, Redford's family, colleagues, and closest friends could no longer stay silent. They spoke both in mourning and in an attempt to fill the void left by the shocking revelations. On the morning of September 16, 2025, only hours after the news broke, his family released a brief statement from their wooden home in Sundance, Utah, carried by Reuters and Associated Press. The statement stressed that Redford passed away in his sleep in the place he loved most, surrounded by family. There was no mention of illness or medical details, only repeated requests to respect our privacy during this time of mourning. Ironically, this silence only fueled more curiosity and suspicion. In less than 24 hours, over 3,000 international news articles appeared. The New York Times published a nearly 5,000-word tribute, calling him one of the last remaining pillars of classic Hollywood. The Los Angeles Times described him as the Utah gentleman with the eternal smile. The Guardian opened a special feature revisiting his interviews from the 1970s. In France, Lemon likened him to the heartbeat of independent cinema, while Nikki Asia called him a bridge between Hollywood and the world. On television, CNN, BBC, Sky News, and CBS replayed his classics, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting, and All the President's Men. Within a single day, the keyword Robert Redford became a global trend with over 20 million Google searches, a record number even for a cinematic icon. In the arts community, tributes poured in like waves. That evening, Jane Fonda tearfully told Entertainment Weekly in a live interview, "I can't stop crying. Robert was beautiful in every sense, an American symbol we must preserve." Dozens of outlets quoted her words as Hollywood's collective sob. The next day, at a New York film premiere, Meryl Streep uttered only one sentence before the cameras. "One of the last lions has fallen." That line, replayed on CBS Evening News, brought the entire hall to silence. The Guardian Live covered the flood of tributes from both ends of Hollywood, from young directors raised under the Sundance banner to seasoned stars. Quentin Tarantino wrote on Instagram, "Without him, there would be no Reservoir Dogs. I owe him my entire career." At the same time, the official Sundance Film Festival account issued a solemn statement. "He spent his life opening doors for dreams. We will continue walking the path he laid." Meanwhile, his legacy became a heated topic. American media estimated Redford's wealth at over $200 million, including a sprawling ranch in Utah, a wooden villa in Sundance, as well as numerous film rights and shares in the Sundance Film Festival. Yet above all, his spiritual legacy stirred the world's most iconic roles, Oscar-winning achievements, and an independent film stage that had nurtured generations of filmmakers. Still, amid this outpouring of grief, a void remained. The Redford family never mentioned the exact cause, firmly maintaining privacy. This silence triggered public imagination. On Twitter and Facebook, countless theories erupted, from his deteriorating health to deliberate concealment of medical details. In a single day, the keyword Redford autopsy report surged to the top worldwide, creating a bitter paradox. Redford was mourned more deeply than ever, while millions also yearned to know the truth about his final years. It felt like a prolonged silence where people wondered, how did Robert Redford truly face his end alone in that room when the spotlight had already faded into the past? From that moment on, the journey to trace the unusual signs in his final days officially began, where the farewell was written in stillness. Yet behind it lay secrets chilling enough to unnerve anyone. In the last weeks of his life, Robert Redford lived as if he already knew everything. Family members said that every night he woke up at exactly 3 a.m. like a strange biological clock. He would sit quietly by the window, eyes fixed on the snow-covered Wasatch Range, a place he had called home for more than half a century. His private nurse remembered that haunting image, Redford, hands trembling, opening an old worn notebook filled with dense quotes from Hemingway and Thoreau. Some nights he softly murmured, "I've come far enough," a sentence as light as a breath, yet it sent chills through anyone who heard it, as if he were signaling that a journey had reached its end. Though his health had deteriorated to the point he was almost bedridden, Redford kept an ear